Hello, and welcome to But Are There Dragons, a podcast where two friends pick a book at least one of them hasn't read and talk about it.
I'm your host, Kritter.
And I'm your host, Jess. And welcome to Season 7, Episode 10, where we are talking about the back half of The Butcher's Masquerade. How are you doing tonight, Kritter?
Doing great. Had a really good time with this read.
Yes. With no further ado, we can just jump in.
We could just jump in, but very, very quickly, let's do a But Are There Updates, which will be an update, actually, to our last But Are There Updates. Very brief, very quick, because there's a huge WatCon update, and that is that Priyanka Bose, the actress who played Alana Sedai of the Green Aja in The Wheel of Time, has replaced Taylor Napier as the guest of honor. So Taylor Napier was Maxim, Alana's warder, so instead of the warder, we're getting the Aes Sedai now. It was a scheduling conflict issue. We're going to miss Taylor, but we are so excited to have Priyanka take his place. So that's a big deal. Then whenever this episode drops, we are unfortunately in-person tickets will be done, like registration will be closed, but Jessica, what will be available?
There will still be plenty of access for online tickets. And there are plenty of folks who attending a con in person just isn't in the cards. And I will tell you, having done a few of these fan conventions, I believe wholeheartedly, with all my bias, that WatCon does the best bang for your buck virtual ticket. You get access to all of the panels, and you get playback access as well. And there's extra little things that we do. You know, there's a Discord, there's chats for the YouTubes, and they have roving reporters that take you around. There are exclusive interviews with our special guests and our guests of honor. It's really a good time. We work really hard, and by we, I mean the royal we. There's tons of other builders behind the scene who actually do that part. To try and make sure that our virtual attendees feel like they get a full experience. And even as somebody who attends in person, I can't make all of the panels. So I rely on those recordings to be able to, deal with the FOMO afterwards and see what I missed. So if live isn't in the cards for you, please consider virtual, especially with, Priyanka. She's going to be hot. I don't care who you are. She made me love Alana, even though I couldn't have cared less. So
Amen.
That's my plug.
Okay, WatCon for the win. You can get virtual passes at www.watcon.com. And before we dive into the book, one last thing. We did have a guest lined up for this episode, but unfortunately, also due to scheduling conflicts and that are completely my fault, he couldn't make it tonight. So shout out to Cousin Ben, whose favorite Dungeon Crawler Carl book is The Butcher's Masquerade. So we were hoping that we could have him on. Hopefully we'll have him on for a future book, but it'll just be me and Jessica tonight, which is not a problem, but it's always a bummer when we have somebody lined up and it doesn't work out.
And shout out to Cousin Ben, because he's clearly got good taste, because this is a hella good book.
I don't want to jump the gun or anything, but I will say that this was so far my favorite Dungeon Crawler Carl book. Also 5 out of 5. And granted, I think I've given some of the other ones 5 stars on Fable, which allows half stars. So, sometimes I'm like 4.75. I think that's what I gave the last one. This one, 5 stars. Sure. No hesitation whatsoever.
Amazing. Yeah, I can commiserate with that. I feel like each successive book, I was like, no, this one.
Yes.
This book does not disappoint. So let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
So we left off with Carl going into another convention space. So we have a new convention experience. One of the things I like about this convention experience, we meet the Popovs. So the Popovs are a crawler combo duo that we have seen listed in the stats in the top 10, but we really have had nothing from them on the radar whatsoever. So this was our first real interaction with them. And so Kritter, I see you nodding. Did you feel the same way? Was it fun to meet another top 10 crawler?
Super fun. And most especially probably because Jeff Hayes, the audiobook narrator, and the way that he played them, that combined with what they were saying. So right whenever they met Carl, it was essentially like, and I can't remember which one said it, but they were like, "Did you bring Princess Donut?" Just like,
Yes.
"I wanted to meet the cat." Like I can't do the Arnold Schwarzenegger accent that he was doing. It was just like, "I really wanted to meet the cat. I like the cat."
And his brother just very, very understandably being like, drop it about the cat, like, be cool.
Yeah, literally, like, you get to meet Carl. It's like you're making him feel bad. No, it was a funny little dynamic that they had right out of the gate. And I appreciated it because if I were them, I too would have wanted to meet the cat more. So I would have wanted to meet Carl more. But you know, who doesn't want to meet Princess?
I mean,
Donut?
you say that you're a pretty big donut stan. So
I am, but like Carl is one of my new and fully minted book husbands. So it's kind of like, you know, it's rough. It's rough.
I didn't know if he quite hit that status yet.
He's there. Yeah, he's been there. Yeah, no, it's him.
When
and
did
Aaron
we get
Ibarra.
book husband official? Like,
oh gosh,
we can take that away too as homework. You can ponder and give it sufficient thought.
I'll think.
But I'd love to hear when he actually gained status.
You know, it might have been, and I'm thinking, it probably was before this, but like for sure, it was probably whenever they were getting flushed down into the water in the last book, The Gate of the Feral Gods, and he shielded Donut with his body. You know, and I mean, and he was like, she was unconscious, and he was just giving her like healing potion after healing potion, just like he is the sole reason that she is alive. And that was just like, I love to see somebody just really like pop off when it comes to being like a dad figure. And so yeah, that really works for me. So I think that's maybe when he hit that status.
If nothing else by then.
If nothing else by then, for sure. That one just was a standout.
Yeah, so I thought the pop-ups were fun, and then another fan convention experience, and yet again, Matt Dinniman finds a way to escalate it, right? So it is another fan convention. We have a new crawler to meet, and there's also Carl attacks somebody with a Sharpie. No big deal.
Yeah, big deal, actually, apparently. Like, who knew an interdimensional, I don't even know, like...
It's a magic Sharpie.
Yeah, magic Sharpie can just get stabbed into somebody's neck, and...
I think if you believe in yourself enough, anything can be a weapon.
Yeah, the fact that it happened and then Carl was literally like, what are they going to do to me? Like, he's going to file a lawsuit?
Yeah.
I'm literally a slave, right? You know, that was it. And then when you found out about how they do the indentured servitude, essential, I mean, the slave labor for people in prison rather than sending them to prison, although in some ways it's not that different than how things actually work in real life. But yeah, it's these books never cease to comment on the way things sometimes are.
I was talking to somebody who is struggled to get through book 1 and has come back to it and has now gotten through book 2. And is cautiously optimistic. So is considering going into book 3 and was having a very nice conversation. And I was like, without spoilers, I think it's very fair to say that the themes get more intense, stated, and you get invested in them as you go through the books. And it's definitely not a spoiler to say every single character experiences growth and evolution. That's true of Carl, Donut, the AI. So this is I'm out there proselytizing for the DCC cult.
I wish I would have saved. I'm mad at myself. I wish I would have saved the tweet that I saw, because it was something along the lines of like, Dungeon Crawler Carl, the book that goes from like a pathetic everyman cuck to, you know, an anti-capitalist, anarchist statement on society.
I would tell you to look it up, but don't Google anything. Like,
no, I know. No, it just came. It was like on my Threads. Like, Threads has figured out that I'm into DCC now, and so it's just like I get some like general. Thank God, like people are really good about tagging spoilers on Threads so far in my experience. Like, and you can even blur them out, which is awesome. Like, I'd have to click into a spoiler. So, gosh, I really wish I would have saved it though, because it was so poignant. Where it's like, yeah, when I heard about the books and when I started reading the books, I was like, this is goofy. It's gooftastic. It's not meant to be serious. But then the longer you read, the more you're
themes
like,
are getting more and more serious, pertinent, pointed.
Yeah. So, yeah, your friend, whoever they are, keep going. Keep going if you're listening.
And then the other piece that I really wanted to talk about from this convention interaction, Carl meets his first member of the Princess Posse. And
oh my God, that was so
that
weird.
is something else.
Yeah.
Did you feel any sort of way about that interaction for them?
It was weird. Like the way they portrayed, I don't understand the tentacle head situation, right? Because it's happened twice. I got the impression that it wasn't the same person both times, but they both had some kind of parasite head. So what's going on there? I don't know. I would like to think that it wasn't Matt Dinniman being like, fangirls are weird, right? Because he's got a lot of fangirls himself.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the vibe that I got. Ultimately, though, what ends up happening with the Princess Posse is iconic, and like the fact that it exists is so fun, and I'm sure it's going to play out and be even more fun once they get to the 9th floor. But the first introduction was a little sus. I mean, she's clearly, there's something going on. Like, don't say the, what was it, C word? Like,
yes, Cocker Spaniel.
Yeah, Cocker Spaniel, but like C word, I don't know. It was just weird. Like they made her out to be really weird.
Yeah, I just it can seem like a real innocuous throwaway moment until you get to the end of the book and you're like, oh, this mattered.
Yeah, this mattered. It did.
Then the convention experience wraps up and we're doing some grinding. We're going through some villages and we see the party we see Carl and Donut going to find Miriam and Prepotente. That was kind of a big deal. So I will say that this whole interaction was, I think, the first time the series made me cry. Was Miriam's farewell was very touching to me, and it made me really sad. And I thought it was beautifully written. So R.I.P. Miriam.
For sure. I would totally agree that it was beautifully written. I actually had a friend of mine, and I can't remember which book he said it happened in. I thought he said it was the 6th book, but maybe it was the 5th book that he said that it made him cry. And Mr. Kritter was like, he's read like the first 30 pages of Dungeon Crawler Carl. So he was like, how? Like, how? It's Dungeon Crawler Carl. What are you talking about?
Mr. Kritter has a point, right? Like,
yeah, how? And then I will admit, it's like, I'm a softie right now. I'm an especially soft touch because, like, ever since I've become a parent, it's been so easy to make me cry. This one didn't, but it was still touching. I will say it was very, very touching. I think the weird dynamic between Miriam and Prepotente is what like just didn't send me over the edge, right? Because their whole thing is so
they've
weird.
Always been odd.
They're so and it's like
they're very odd.
Yeah, and granted, Prepotente did become like a sentient being, like more than just a goat, but at the same time, like he's still such a bizarre character that to me it still feels like a person and her pet. And I know he would be so pissed if he knew I said that. But yeah, he's just an odd duck, and so
he very much is.
But no, it was a really well written scene for sure, and the way that it played out, where it was the like ping ponging back and forth counter spells, which reminded me, shout out to the Magic the Gathering players out there, because that's what it reminded me of. Like somebody's playing a blue and black deck. My God, and
it speaks to my D&D heart, because I've definitely been in some combats where there's counter spells getting countered left and right. So yeah. So it's a real thing.
It appeals to us all. And then the fact that he had the ring, that was fascinating.
So I really loved, I found it poignant. I think that because Miriam was odd and because of her backstory and how she had made choices that were, you know, kind of sacrificial in nature to be with her parents, and then all of a sudden she was like, and where did my life go? And like, the goats are what I have. And
Yeah.
I think because they're odd, resonated with me a little bit more.
Yeah, no, it's totally fair. Like I was kind of like, why am I not crying right now? You know, like maybe I was just in not the right frame of mind or something, or maybe I was doing something particularly, you know, maybe I was driving in traffic when I heard it. I can't remember exactly when I heard it.
You're not dead inside just because you're not.
I know.
It's okay.
It was weird that I was like, I should
be crying. Like, it crescendoed, right? So her story, you know, was one piece of it. The sacrifice that she was making for all of the other crawlers and NPC, like everybody who had been infected because of her, another layer of sacrifice, a layer of sacrifice for Prepotente, and then Carl giving her out without compromising his humanity by sitting with her until dawn. And so that was just the final straw. It was just a really unique situation. And then, of course, the weird comes back because Prepotente unfreezes and, you know, screams right in Carl's face, as he is wont to do. And so
I have to
weird
say,
comes back.
I have to say, I went to the St. Louis Art Museum yesterday for me and Mr. Critter's anniversary, and it was a lovely outing. But I came across this, and it was technically a gazelle, but there was like a little sculpture that was like a little horned animal with like kind of slightly curved horns. And it, to me, is what Prepotente looks like in my head. I was literally like, oh my God, it's Prepotente, just straight away. And I think partially it's because of the way that he's depicted on the book covers, right? Like, at least I think he's on this book cover. Like, there's a goat on the book cover, so I assume that was him. It just, they're so like almost like a lanky type of a goat that, or you know, what do they call it? Caprid. Sorry, not the goat, a caprid. So I will, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll try and remember to superimpose this so you can see what I'm talking about, because that is how I picture somewhat Prepotente, except for, like, obviously for some reason I picture him on two legs, which I don't actually know that's how I'm supposed to picture him, but that's how I picture him.
I guess Emperor's New Groove informs how I view Prepotente and how he interacts with the world a lot.
Okay, that's funny. All right, I hadn't thought about that, but no, Prepotente's a weird duck, but he was kind of a real force to be reckoned with in this half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and only got more so by the end, for sure.
Right.
So moving on from Miriam, there are nipple piercings that happened.
Yes.
So, you know, light and fun, and Carl betrayed Donut by trying to do the 1, 2, 3 and piercing on one. So that's fun.
I mean, the fact that they now have matching nipple piercings is the most fun thing about it. Like, they didn't really mention that fact, but now they like went and got a piercing together. Now they both have nipple rings.
You can't pretend that didn't happen.
No, it's so funny. It's so and I'm just like, the fact that Carl has a nipple piercing is, and that Donut was just like, I'm not a sex pervert, Carl. Like, and the fact that just him using the nipple ring to his advantage, because it was loot. All of a sudden she's decided that he's just beyond, like, he's just,
well, I mean, the tattoos really pushed her over the edge,
which are not his fault either. That's why it's this running joke of these things completely outside Carl's control, and Donut blames him for and attributes characteristics to him because of them. And I just think that really, it tickles me.
And then we saw a ton of benefactor boxes that are getting routed to Donut. So this is about the part of the book where we're seeing all kinds of things coming in from sponsors. And no matter who they're going to, this is for Donut. This is for Donut. This is for Donut.
Yeah. That was so odd. And in the end, it still is odd, because they were like, oh, they just must have wanted us to work together. But at the same, like, I don't know. It just feels like it would almost have been better to just all go to Prepotente. So that's what I'm confused about. Why they sent them to Donut, not Prepotente. that answer to me has not been, or that question to me has not been answered yet.
I don't think it's been answered either. I will say I kind of just made the assumption that one, there is benefit in spreading it out so it can't be looted so easily,
Yeah.
or even figured out what's happening, right? Like divvying it up into parts to obscure the reasons.
Yeah.
But those are assumptions, those are things that I kind of inferred based on the situation. I don't feel like anybody really gave us a reason.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think, like, there aren't any rules right now about how many boxes one person can get per level or anything like that.
I don't think so. No, I don't recall hearing anything about a restriction.
But it was like various sponsors doing it, so I guess that would. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those sponsors are sponsoring the same people, right? So to me, it's like it's so interesting that they spread them out that thin when they could have just either sent them just to Donut or to Prepotente. But there's something going on in the worldwide space that
Yeah.
that we're not quite privy to just yet, I guess.
So it was definitely a departure from the way we've seen benefactor boxes used before.
Definitely.
So then we finally make it to, the Butcher's Masquerade. And I will say that at one point in these chapters that was part of this, Louis makes a comment about how he's just as confused as he was for the Iron Tangle. I will admit that there were some mechanics related to the multi-level ballroom that I still am like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, when did they say there was a generator or what? It was just, there was a lot going on. Yeah.
So it was a different kind of space, a different kind of combat. Again, fighting on a couple of different levels. So it's neat in that way. But yeah, I was still like, yeah, I don't have to understand it. I just know that there's layers.
Yeah, and I can't believe I didn't think, because the first time they mentioned, and then there's some like ducting throughout the castle. I guess I can believe I didn't think, oh, that's definitely a cat tunnel. But the fact that it ended up being cat tunnels is pretty spectacular.
It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
And then the AI told on him. So I thought it was funny that that the AI told on Ferdinand for having, like, he may have just put those in.
Yeah.
Well, nobody was looking or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So one of the things about finally getting to the Butcher's Masquerade is we kind of are hitting a climax for obviously the action for this floor, but also for the Vengeance of the Daughter plotline that we have seen come through, and the stuff that has to do with Signet and the crossover with Signet. And I feel like we have seen before that Carl has made comments to Signet to try and, I use the term awaken. So try to awaken her, like explain to her the greater context that she's in that, kind of bucks against her programming and what the system has programmed her for. And so we see that again here, where he is very direct with her about what's happening, and isn't, there's no maliciousness to it. Just, we can't do it that way. The game won't let you do it that way, but I can still, there's a way that I can do this where you can get what you want. And then Signet goes into the ball. She gets a ticket from Apido, the goddess, who I found that weird. That's very sus to me. I don't recall ever getting that explained since. So I'm like, was it really Apido? Was it the AI acting through Apido?
I think it's like, my understanding is that the latter.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much the assumption, right? Because the AI drives those narratives.
Right.
And I'm sure he did it just for the shenanigans aspect. Let's send her in there and see what happens.
Yeah.
But really, Signet being let loose on the party and having too much time with Donatia and other off-worlders dramatically shifts her perspective and really forces the awakening to come true. And that was kind of sad.
It was. I mean, it was, I really like how it played out. Honestly, it was sad for sure. But Carl had resigned himself to sacrificing himself, and of course, Carl wasn't going down. We know that there's more Dungeon Crawler Carl books. So it was the perfect solution in my mind, and I guess I don't know that we figured this one out yet, but they weren't gonna let the battle, like, they needed the battles to play out in two different ways, right? Because the show and the main Dungeon Crawler World broadcast had to be separate. Like, the finales had to be separate. So the fact that she went out like before the big fight, I guess, was, I assume it worked out in the grand scheme of broadcasting contracts and all of that nonsense. Yeah. But it was also just so self-sacrificial and moving. It was another big moving moment where she's like, like, let everybody know that this was my choice, and that nobody messes with my family and all this other stuff. And she just, it was cool. I thought it played out really neat. And the way that they had described her spell previously, where it was like 3 components, right? We need the caster, we need the sacrifice, and we need, what was the other thing? The person killing the sacrifice or whatever. Yeah. And then it was like, actually, they can all be the same person. Like, that was a cool twist that played on the rules that we already knew about her spell. I love a good callback. So yeah, I think she was, honestly, like, in the first part of the book, the first read, it was like, okay, they're here, it's fine. Like, he's got to do this movie or the show, but I wasn't super into that plot. But the way that it was tied up was really satisfying for me. Plus, it was ultimately necessary, kind of, because it helped explain the, well, now I can't think of their names, but like the 2-headed ogre dynamics.
The pop-offs.
Yeah, it helped explain what happened with the pop-offs. So that was cool too.
Yeah. It was another noble NPC. So again, these NPCs are creations. They are not naturally born creatures, and showing just an incredible amount of nobility and integrity.
Yeah.
I loved Signet Sacrifice. I loved, because so much is going on right there. There's a couple, we've already, this part of the story, they actually shared pages of their plan as different, prologues to each chapter, epitaph, whatever it is.
No, that was a cool way to do it. I like the structure.
It was, because a lot of times we have no idea what Carl's up to. So that was fun to do that. But it's clear from those little snippets that there's a potential of like half a dozen different variations of plans, and they have multiple outcomes for different stages of the plan. And basically they all go to heck pretty fast. And it's very obvious to everybody that knows him that Carl is thinking about self-sacrificing. And by Signet coming in, not only was her sacrifice more helpful, it left him free to keep going. And I do think that losing Carl would be a huge blow to the morale, not just the capabilities of the remaining crawlers, but a huge blow from a morale perspective. So
yeah, he's without a doubt a leader among the factions, right? Because there's multiple parties, but he's definitely a leader in the dungeon itself, because everyone's heard of him. He was the #1 crawler for a while. He's iconic, and even though they make him look like a psychopath every time somebody meets him, they're like, oh, you're actually kind of great. And I will say, you mentioned the fact that the plan just went to hell, right? It just went so poorly. Everything went wrong. I kind of really appreciated that happened, because Carl has been such a Mary Lou or Gary Sue or whatever you want to call it. Like, he's been so perfect, and everything he's done has worked out exactly. I mean, I'm sure there are exceptions, but it feels like every single plan that he's had has gone off without a hitch, or there have been hitches, but he's immediately adapted and it's been incredible. Right. In this case, he was going to adapt in such a way that it was going to be his demise. And so he was ultimately saved by other people, kind of, in this particular fight, which I love Carl, but I'm so glad that it was finally like, okay, Carl's not perfect. he needs other people, right? Like it's a found
Right.
family, and without the found family, this would all not work out.
Yeah, because in the end, he is just one guy.
Speaking of found family, though, okay, one of the best moments for me was it the sledge who had the spell, or was it Bomo?
No, it's Sledge.
Okay, the sledge. So at the very end, when Carl is messaging back and forth with the sledge, when he was just like, I'll do whatever you want. Like I owe you so much. I'll see you in the ninth floor. Like you're making such a sacrifice. Like Carl was like, the sledge is a fake thing. He's like, he's not real either. He's an NPC, yeah. And Carl is like profusely thanking him. And that was an extremely emotional moment. And then the sledge is just like, don't let Bomo beat my score. And he's like, I'll unplug the machine the moment I get home. Like that was really touching for me. I really love that conversation, especially because throughout the entire fight, the narration from the sledge was hilarious. He's like, dead changeling, dead mantis on roof. Like it was
lots of mantises.
Yeah, it punctuated.
There's fire.
It punctuated it in such a perfect way that I thought it built. And then ultimately he's like, the mom bear dies, which is really sad, but then he saved the little girls, and he had to sacrifice the twister. There was so much that happened, and then finally, he's like, the front mantises were changelings, were saved. And I was like, oh my god, what's happening?
That was a ride.
It was a ride. And so no, I mean, the fact that you can get so invested in the sledge, the hired mercenary who's a former what's the
bodyguard
called? Yeah, like
from the Desperado
Club, turned video game addict, like who sacrifices himself. I don't know. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I got a shout out for Sledgy in here for casting Zuzura and basically saving the entire NPC contingent that's associated with Team Carl.
Yes, amen.
Yeah, so another thing that happens before the absolute debauchery of all the murdering, we see Florian and Lucia Mar have an interaction, and that essentially amounts to forgiveness from Florian to Lucia Mar and turns into a protective situation. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I think we had been given hints, right, that there was more than meets the eye. She had seemed like there were multiple people kind of in her ear. She had extreme personality shifts. So now that we have a bit more of an explanation, if still something that we definitely need to figure out, I'm glad about it. I knew that Carl wasn't just going to kill her, right? Because she's a child, and I am still holding out hope that he's not going to get a player killer skull. Fingers crossed. So yeah, I wish they would have killed the other dog now, though I guess I'm sure like that'll end up being some kind of mission in some future book, and it'll be really satisfying when it happens. Fingers crossed. But
I choose to believe it'll be Donut.
Oh, that would be great.
For the callback, you know what I mean?
She takes out the first one. She takes out the second one. Yeah. Definitely.
So that then leads us into just massive slaughter. Like, just crazy. We got Samantha in the ductwork pulling soul crystals. So, the chaos agent.
Oh my god.
She is.
And she didn't memorize the map. She's like, what do I do now?
You memorize it. Well, he did, actually. So
that made me laugh. Like, she literally just didn't do anything she was supposed to do. Like, she was supposed to bring an explosive, left it. She's supposed to memorize the map, didn't.
And I think it was Amani who was like, why are you trusting her? Like, she never does what she's supposed to do. And I'm like, we're all with you, Amani. We all know. Yeah.
I mean, but, Katya was not going to turn into a slug. So what were his options,
Yeah. So, yeah, then we just go into death and dismemberment and gore. Lots of gore.
And a bunch of tiny mantises.
Lots swarming. Of mantises. Dewati showing up. Yeah, it got crazy. I do think that it was neat that, well, I mean, we skipped over Imogen coming in and meeting Imogen and finding out that she is, for a split second, you think that she's Ifechi, Florian's partner, but in reality, it's Ifechi's twin.
Mm-hmm.
Which, at least it wasn't B, I guess,
Yeah.
because that's really what Carl thought that was going to look like.
Yeah.
And then all that implies, and just they made her. I think that I find Imogen disturbing because she was a born person and they reprogrammed her, and that is hugely disturbing. I feel like that's the first instance that we've seen of that in the books, and that is unnerving.
More so than Gravy Boat. I mean, she is a human, not a cat, so that does feel more
I
disturbing.
do feel like yeah, I guess, because I treated what happened to Gravy Boat / Ferdinand as like a spell, like a charm, but I guess you could probably say the same for what happened to Ifechi. But yeah, I had definitely minimized it because he's quote unquote just a cat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird either way. It was not cool. Not cool at all. Yeah. Definitely not. Yeah.
And
anyways.
the battle works out for our heroes, but at a hell of a cost, right? So first and foremost, Louis heartbroken because he loses the Twister.
Faraz. Oh yeah. Yeah, the Twister.
And then I mean, but that's a great point. Yeah, Faraz actually dies. That's terrible. Gwen dies.
Yeah.
Tran loses his legs. It's and the Popovs die. And then we finally get to understand why the Popovs were encouraged to be nodlings.
Yes.
A nodling. Excuse me.
I loved that.
Yeah. And it did validate. So I remember when they first told us that nodlings, once they die, we learned it through Signet, because the strong men that she has in tattoo form are nodlings, and they split off into 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking that, and I remember that they were saying that, children and pregnant people are exempt from the crawl.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, are they though? So this was nice to see that it seems like at least the crawl is following that set of rules. And
I can't help but wonder if that's how we're going to get out of the Katya situation.
Wouldn't it be nice?
And it wasn't my idea, I will admit. My idea was, no, they're going to come up with a way for Katya to leave the dungeon. But then I have like a Fable book club, where like as But Are There Dragons reads through the books, that like the book of my book club is the book that we're reading. And so there's like a little bit of discussion. Obviously I don't get ahead, but what's cool about Fable is you can see what chapters people are talking about, so you don't get spoiled. So at the end, when I was like, this can't possibly, like, it's not going to be Katya versus Donut, there's going to be a loophole, I just refuse to believe that one of them is going to die. Somebody was like, they did make a point to say that she had relations before the party. And they also made a point to say that pregnant people can't be in the dungeon. Both of those things now, like, I'm on board with. Like, Katya is a shapeshifter. I can't remember her exact class. If it's shapeshifter, there's another one. I can't.
Doppelganger.
Yeah. Is she a shapeshifter or doppelganger?
She's a doppelganger.
Okay, so like, she's a doppelganger. It mentioned that after they had relations, sorry, I'm trying to be PG, she assumed human form in like a perfect rendition of her human self, minus the fingers, because she can't regrow the fingers. Mm-hmm. And then she had changed like her nose for some reason.
Her nose and her hair.
Yeah, her nose and her hair for some reason. And so in my mind, I thought, okay, well, if she could change those things about her, what if she can redo whatever it was that they did to sterilize her? What if she could undo it? Like, her picture of herself is with like a complete set of working materials,
Everything.
right? And so that's, you know, I'm on board with the Katya's been impregnated.
Okay.
That's official prediction courtesy of my book club, but I am like co-signing so hard on that it's not even funny. But also I have to say that the conversation before the big fight, where Carl brings it up to Batista, like, so you and Katya,
Oh yeah,
or whatever.
totally skipped over.
And
Sorry.
Donut's like, what do you mean? First of all, that was funny that Donut had not picked up on it, even though she likes to think that she's...
You'd have to pay attention to somebody else to catch that it was...
Oop, shots fired. But also when Carl's like, hey, can I have one of these beanie babies or whatever? And Batista's like, you can have one. You can have 5. It was like he was so happy that Carl wasn't mad. He would do anything. So I thought that was a wholesome interaction for sure.
It was. But also, like, I'm just sorry. My brain stopped working. Like, how long has that been bothering them? Like,
oh yeah.
Like, how convinced was he that Carl would be really ticked off and it would be like a problem?
I feel like, I don't know, like the way that I know Carl, and the way that you know Carl, the way that readers know Carl, like he's not just gonna not say anything.
Because he's not actually a psychopath.
Yeah, like if he had feelings for Katya, I like to think that he would have said something before they ever met Batista, or, you know, like before she ever interacted with him. So I don't know. Yep. It was obviously, though, like there's a lot of things in life where you get nervous about something, like how's somebody going to react to what I say, whatever. And so it's totally understandable that they were nervous about that.
Yeah. But to your point, it was very cute, very wholesome.
Yeah, it really was.
And another opportunity for Carl to be like a good guy and go, yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
So sorry to pivot from that incredibly wholesome moment back to Murder and Mayhem, but that's where we left off. We didn't talk anything about the performances. So we had the pet performances, and we had, you know, Tina's opportunity to dance supposedly coming, and last but not least, of course, the finale is Donut singing. And these were all kind of incredible in their own right.
Yes.
Did you feel like they paid off pretty well, or?
Yes. Mongo doing the moonwalk deserved first place, and Donut's reaction to the fact that he didn't win was valid. First of all, and the fact that I was like, when did you teach him how to moonwalk? And she's like, whatever. Perfect. Second, Carl over here being like, the lyrics to that song don't make any sense. Carl's a smart guy. I don't believe for 1 second that he doesn't understand the lyrics to that song that Donut was singing. That feels so obvious. That, to me, okay, like, this is my read on it, and I don't have the lyrics in front of me, but, like, my impression was she regretted making Donut a show cat because she loves Donut, and being in the show cat sphere, she has, or the, B has been pressured so much by outside forces, I assume by her terrible mother, to be the best at this cat show thing that, like, she's going to end up having to sacrifice Donut to the system, essentially, to keep going at the cat show circuit. Like, that's what the song communicated to me. And Carl's over here like, these lyrics don't make any sense. Like, what?
I agree. I think that these lyrics don't make any sense are a throwback to how Carl felt about the lyrics when they happened in the real world. Do you know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Like, in the context of, I do think that Carl was probably just slightly less evolved, slightly less paying attention pre-apocalypse.
Maybe.
And so he just was like, are they just dumb lyrics? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe that's just my flavor on it, but that's how I look at it. Like,
maybe. This to me reminded me, and I won't, so we won't spoil anything big, but in the first book of the ACOTAR series, there is, let's just say without any context, a riddle that comes up. And the moment they say the riddle, I was like, I know the answer. And it ended up taking much
whole
longer than
book?
it should have for the person to figure out the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the same flavor to me. Like,
Yes.
and I hate to liken Dungeon Crawler Carl to Akatar in any way, because although I do like I've been seeing lots of TikToks and stuff about the pipeline from Romantasy to Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I'm a part of that pipeline. We literally just read Fourth Wing, so guilty. But it's just funny to me that it's so obvious what this is talking about. That Carl just
I think it's funny just because I don't really I'm not the person that figures things out. I think I've gone on the record on multiple episodes where I'm just like, I'm along for the ride. I'm not trying to solve the riddles. I don't even think I tried to solve the riddles when we did Lord of the Rings. I am just here for the show. And when it came to that riddle and when it came to these lyrics, I was like, it's pretty straightforward what that's about.
Yeah, this isn't hard, guys, but okay.
Nope. So yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to all of Donut's hard work to get those shows up and running, and I think that she gave a stellar performance. The enamoring of Ferdinand, and the fact that she performed so well, she charmed the entire room. I think Donut gets mad props for that.
Shout out to Donut. And honestly, so I confirmed this with somebody, Hot Sauce Steve, actually. I confirmed this with Hot Sauce Steve, who I still owe a button sticker to. I have not forgotten you. But he reached out after I finished this read, and he was like, "Did you listen to the song at the end?" And if you're not an audiobook person, apparently this does not exist in the book. But
correct.
Donut, there's a segment at the end that's kind of advertising Sound Booth Theater, who does the audiobooks for Dungeon Crawler Carl, where Donut does an improvised song, kind of like a parody to Wonderwall. And it's like fully produced. There's music. She's singing. It's so good, honestly. It's called Dungeon Crawl instead of Wonderwall, I think, or something like that. But it's perfect. It's honestly hilarious. So if you haven't yet read any of the audiobooks and you're like, well, how am I going to read them next time around? Because obviously you're going to reread them. This book specifically, I would highly recommend the audiobook, if not before, because the Dungeon Crawl Wonderwall is pretty fabulous.
And I will say that the first time through, I did not know that was there because I never went to the end credits. So I stayed on through the end credits this time. And I was like, that is amazing.
The fact that you've missed the end credits, that's so... Yeah, I always just read the audiobooks until it's like, this is Audible. You have just
now
read.
I know.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. Pro tip.
Yeah. So that, everything's going, and they win, but at a heck of a cost.
Yeah.
And we've talked about how many they lost, and then they get a notification that they now have a faction war team.
Mm-hmm. What?
So, yeah. So I've made it pretty clear that at all times through the books that I love it that Carl is fighting this war on multiple levels.
Mm-hmm.
And they leveraged the Princess Posse and got themselves a seat at the table for the faction wars. And I am super excited to see what that means. Curious on your thoughts.
I love it. The fact that they are lobbying to make it so that people can die on the ninth floor. Perfection. It's literally just putting a microscope to what's going on in the dungeon, right? Because people don't believe crawlers are human, or they see them as subhuman. They don't see them as worthy of protection, like a normal being should have. But it's kind of just like, okay, well, what is it about us that makes us different? Is it because we're on this conquered planet? Is it because we're in the dungeon? Because there are other people in the dungeon, right? Somehow they deserve protection when we don't. It's just like, it raises so many questions. Mm-hmm. And Carl is, again, making them think about those questions harder than they've ever thought about them before. maybe, I assume. And I'm just digging it. I love it. I'm so excited to see how that plays out. And the fact that Empress Donadia also has a faction is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Empress Donatia's throwaway comment to Signet that Signet shares with Carl that, you know, it's a shame because she really wanted you to survive long enough to face you in the faction wars. And it's just a really messed up perspective.
Yeah.
To feel fondness for characters, even if you dehumanize them.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this character and I can't wait to kill them myself. Like, that's just weird.
It's weird. It's because they see them as subhuman. It's, it's just, it's messed up. Just messed up.
So Rebellion Carl is in full effect, and he talks until Zev tells him, "Good job, they blacked it out. Now they're just watching two crawlers in the brambles," which good for funny. You, Carl.
Yeah, I love how Zev is always like, "Chill out, Carl," but her heart is never really in it.
No,
it's like, you're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, stop talking about this, Carl. It's funny.
And that brings us to, I feel like a lot happened in the epilogue on this book. So in the epilogue, we've got Prepotente finds a way to skip an entire floor.
Mm-hmm.
An entire floor just gone. So that's the second floor that we've skipped. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Ava
what
and Katya.
Floor did we skip? What other floor did we skip?
We skipped floor 2, I think. We went from 1 to 3. There was another floor that we skipped. Don't make me do this. I don't remember.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I forgot already.
It had to be either 2 or 4 because it was not an interval of 3. Whoever is listening or watching, please don't think poorly of me that I can't remember which floor it was.
No, just give me a moment. Let me break it down. First floor was the first book, right? No problem there. Second floor was the circus floor.
Mm-hmm.
Third floor was the desert floor. No, the Iron Tangle. Fourth floor was the desert floor. Fifth floor was this floor, right? Or was this the sixth floor?
I'm having this.
No, this was the sixth floor. So where?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to look. We can just insert it here, like in post. We'll put it in on the image of which floor we skipped because I can't find the answer, guys.
This is Kritter checking in. To the extent anyone else is confused, we decided to create a breakdown of the floors. Our confusion, it turns out, was based on the fact that the first book covered both floors 1 and 2, and floors 1 and 2 were relatively similar.
Regardless, we know we're skipping this floor, right? So, and I think that that's insane that Prepotente got it from it. Even just him retelling the story, it was a fairy tale and there were clues and he just put it together. So Prepotente, on top of being, I think currently the highest level crawler and scary in his own right, also seems to have an incredible intellect.
Oh my gosh.
And is picking up on things that are, I don't know that I would have picked up on that. And he put all the pieces together and collected all the things that he needed to shatter a level. And the fact that he was talking to, I think her name is Cressida.
Yeah.
And she's so mad because she built that floor.
She was so excited.
She was so excited. And he shattered it.
Mm-hmm. And they were trying to speed through the intro so that he couldn't do it. They're like, these are the levels.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I just realized that's why she was going.
That's why she was going so fast. Yeah, she was trying to do it before he could. She was trying to I guess press the start button before he could bust out. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's how much attention I pay. Obviously, that's why she was going so fast. But the big thing from the epilogue is Ava and Katya, and
oh my gosh. Wow. The fact that they gave her a beanie and she took it off and gave it to Carl. Rough. Mm-hmm. So rough.
Mm-hmm.
Devastating.
Mhm.
Oh man, that it's just again because I'm possibly delusional and think it'll be fine. They'll work it out. I'm not as devastated as I'm sure she is, right? Because
Mhm.
in her mind, one or the other is dead.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah. So the crown of the Sepsisaur is back, and we don't actually know what that's going to look like yet. And yeah, that's one big middle finger from Ava to Katya at the very end.
Literally, like F off, Eva. God, that's so evil. Like you're
Yeah.
going down and you're just taking her down with you is essentially what you're
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah. So Eva was in fact the worst and still managed to make things worse even on her way out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
And
not going
then
to
of
say
course,
RIP.
no, not at all. No.
RIT. Rest in torture.
Good riddance.
Eva. Yeah, good riddance.
And then the other part of that, which is really kind of sad and upsetting, is Katya using the boomsticks and the way that you use it. You're using them to escape reality.
Yeah.
It's pretty upsetting.
Yeah, it is. It's I don't know. It's something, but again, it'll be fine. In the end, it'll be fine. Surely.
It's all gonna work out.
She's gonna quit smoking the boomsticks when she finds out she's pregnant. So we'll be fine.
Okay. So Kritter's got it all worked out, which always makes me feel so much better.
Okay, so before we move on, because I feel like we're getting towards the end, I had a few notes. One of them, I really appreciate Matt Dinniman's extremely irreverent descriptions of things. So, for example, whenever they were fighting the bereft minion of the vampire hunter, something that they said was, it was trying to pull me apart like a hot mozzarella stick. It gives you the exact picture that you need, but what a dumb way to say, like it's just so perfectly Dungeon Crawler Carl, the way that it was phrased. Like, what? So there was that, and then okay, so the another audiobook narrator score was Ellie. And I don't know if like he could not have known this that long ago, but the way that Ellie got to say 4th of July, it reminded me so much of Legally Blonde. The like, you remind me of the 4th of July. Like, it makes me want a hot dog real bad.
Jennifer Coolidge, yes.
Yeah. The way that he the audiobook narrator did Ellie saying 4th of July reminded me of Jennifer Coolidge in Legally Blonde. And it was so spectacular. So shout out once again to him.
Yeah. There was also one more thing. I really loved the fact that they worked up Donut's spells in private, and Donut's laundry day spell, which was kind of, what are we going to use this for, is what defeated Dewata, and then Cersei was killed by her own offspring. And I loved it.
Yeah. Poetic.
I don't often get bloodthirsty, but I thought that was grand.
Yeah, no notes on that one.
Yeah. So then we're going to go into, if you don't have any other favorite moments or anything that I missed, we'll go into our next round of faves.
Good to go.
So if you had to pick a fave mob / fight for this half of the book, what do you lean towards?
I feel like I do this differently every time. Sometimes it's like, this was my favorite fight, so I'm going to pick this person. In this case, it was the biggest OMG moment, the biggest what the F moment, and that was Eva. Like, Eva having like 50 player killer skulls and screwing Katya at the last second. Like, oh my, I could not hate someone more than I hate Eva. And so, I think for me this time it's Eva.
For me, it was her making the comments about Katya's partner, and of course he wouldn't want to have kids with you.
Yeah, like, just the evil.
That's, you forced him away. Like, of course he left you because you are the way that you are. Like, just such a terrible thing to say. And I know it's sexist, but from woman to woman, for one woman to say that to another woman,
how dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at any rate, so I stuck with our traditional, which is the fave mauve routine.
I always change it. I'm sorry.
And that's fine. It's our show. We can do whatever we want.
True.
The odious creepers are really something else. So the idea of them picking up body parts and just perpetuating is so gross and so
pretty gross. Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, descriptive. Very descriptive.
Super descriptive. Super. And shout out to the vampire hunter also, because like that led up to the Miriam Dom scene, which was really good.
Yeah, and my honorable mention for fave baddie was Scolopendra. So we didn't fight Scolopendra, but the description of it just roiling in the background was very descriptive. So I was like, "Woo, Scolopendra's a baddie."
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to that part of the show where we talk about who our runner-ups and MVPs are for this half of the book, and because it's the second half of the book, we'll then say who is the overall for the entire book.
Okay.
So, with no further ado, Kritter, who is your runner-up for the second half of this book?
It's gonna be... I'm between two people. It's gonna be the Sledge. Okay. Picking the Sledge. Okay. He was magnificent. He took out he infiltrated the castle, took out a lot of the mantises, saved the two baby bears, like activated the spell, sacrificed himself kind of. He gave us the incredible narration throughout the entire thing. He was spectacular. Yeah, it's the Sledge.
Sledge is an incredible choice. I actually have several runner-ups for this.
I mean, fair. Like, honestly,
yeah.
Yes.
So I still have two that I have to choose, like, which one I'm actually giving the role to. Yeah. I'm giving runner-up to Signet.
Okay.
Because without her sacrifice and her killer spell, they would have been dead in the water. Like, they never would have got out alive, I don't think, honestly. Yeah. So I think Signet has to take runner-up. However, I have 4 honorable mentions. I have Miriam because of her selflessness in making sure that, if she goes down, then everybody else who got infected, like, making it right.
She would have been
especially from the vampirism perspective. Like, she didn't want that to continue. So Miriam on that front. Imani with all of her badass winged healings and debuffs and everything. We don't see a lot from Imani because, she's basically a healer class, and as somebody who both plays a tank in one campaign and a healer class in another, it's really easy to be an unsung hero when you're a healer. But she was very present and very effective. And I also give it out to Samantha. She may be a chaos goblin, but, she got into that place and she got those crystals out, and she also, took one for the team and took on head-to-head with Dawadi/Cersei. So,
or head to something else.
Whatever. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
She was hilarious. And when she was like, "You believe in me?" When Carl was like, "I believe in you," I loved that part. It was really touching for a Samantha scene. Like, come on.
Absolutely. She's not just saying, "I will kill your mother."
Yeah.
And then my last honorable mention was Brittany. So Brittany was very uncomfortable, very unhappy, but her use of the jacket and the patches was really important in terms of distraction. So we had several good runner-up options, I feel like.
We really, really did. Now I'm like, oh, maybe I should have picked Miriam for my runner-up, but that's okay. I stand by the Sledge. He was incredible.
Yeah. Sledge was on my list, but I had a girl-powered runner-up run, so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So then that takes us to the final MVP. So Kritter, for this half, who is your MVP?
I chose Signet. I think for the same reasons, that you chose Signet. She was instrumental, vital, absolutely required for their success. Like, either all of them were going to die or Carl was going to die, and neither of those things would have been okay with me. So she saved the day by like 10 out of 10 performance by Signet.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. For my MVP, I chose Donut.
I thought you would.
Of how much growth she showed with her bardic skills.
Fair enough.
How much work she put into that performance, how crucial those performances were in terms of misdirection. And her, she worked so hard to get to a place where she could charm the whole room. So I was like, yeah, girl, get it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. 100% fair.
So what that means is that for the book, for our runner-up, we have Signet with 3 points. Which I feel like is good, because I feel like she was really important to this book.
Yeah.
And that means that Donut took this whole book by a landslide.
Wow. How many points did Carl have? I'm so shocked.
1. All 3 of us voted for Donut.
For MVP, yeah. And then only I assume I gave him runner-up last time.
Yes, it was
okay,
you.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, good job, Donut. You the shirt says it all, right? Like, she deserved it without a doubt for this book. Absolutely. She was the MVP. And shout out to Carl, obviously. Incredible character, always doing the most, but in this case, Donut was a standout for sure. And Signet she made the ultimate sacrifice is kind of a hard thing to overlook. Yeah. Okay. Well, wow. Butcher's Masquerade in the books. What a good one. Okay, so our next read is shock, going to be The Eye of the Bedlam Bride. Is that what it's called? Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 6. The episode is going to drop on July 7th, and we'll be reading part 1, which is chapters 1 through 37. So if you want to keep up with the podcast, in 2 weeks, have read through chapter 37 of the 6th Dungeon Crawler Carl book. Alrighty. New achievement! You skipped a level! Whoopee! You think that makes you cool or something? Reward? You go straight to level 8. Don't you feel lucky? I'm sure it'll be way better than level 7 would be. Bye!
Bye!